Welcome to the in-depth explanation of the Izumi Shuffle, a glitch I discovered in Resident Evil Outbreak. As a bit of a disclaimer, this glitch only works in File 1 as of now. This glitch can be used in several places. However, the only applicable speedrun use for a while was in Hellfire. This glitch cuts out the need to get the gold key, as well as negating the need to turn on the power. To perform the Izumi Shuffle, you need a weapon in your first inventory slot, and you can't be in danger status. The easiest way is on an open archway loading zone. However, it can be performed on doors with the proper angle. Hellfire has a number of archways on it. Notable for practice is the one that leads to the dead firefighter with the weapon in the room. This one is where I do most of the practice for timing the trick. The main use takes place in the final room of the scenario. Most archways are like the one at the beginning of Hellfire, where if you get behind the loading zone, there will be only a small alcove to walk around in. Luckily, the one in the final area of Hellfire is not one like that. Moving on to the trick itself, the way to perform it is to first make sure that you have a weapon in your first inventory slot. Then, line yourself up to run at a loading zone. You'll want to try and let go of your movement inputs, and while you decelerate, you need two things to happen. 1. Kevin needs to hit the loading zone, and 2. You need to open your inventory and spam confirm on equip weapon. If performed correctly, the game will shoot you past the loading zone and you'll end up behind it, out of bounds. In the case of Hellfire, you'd want to use the shuffle to get out of bounds near the security office and run around to the front counter where you'll warp to the first floor. From there you can kill the boss and be on your way. The first time you see this trick, if you're familiar with the game, you may be shocked. However, allow me to shed some light on how I discovered this trick and also how it all works. I found the first part of this trick while I was running Decisions on hard mode. You need to use the assault rifle to open the door for a key item. I have a bit of a habit of pressing start when I don't have control over my character to skip cutscenes, sometimes even when one isn't playing. And on this occasion, I fulfilled the conditions to open the menu in the loading zone. I attempted to unequip my assault rifle and save maybe a second or two of doing it elsewhere since Kevin moves slower with a two-handed weapon equipped. Then, after the run concluded, I went to Hellfire to practice and see if I could actually unequip a weapon in a door if I was fast enough. Then, the Izumi Shuffle happened. Now, let's slide over to how this trick works from a more technical standpoint. I isolated a value in Cheat Engine to show what Kevin's current stance is. You can see here that 0 means he's standing still, 1 is walking, 3 is running, 23 is equipping or unequipping a weapon, and so on. Notably, the value for going through a door is 10, whereas going through a loading zone without a door is 68. You can even see it change from one to the other if you hit a loading zone from out of bounds that takes you through a door on the other side. The stance value will be important to keep your mind on, but it's more of a visualization to help make this easier to understand. Now, there are some times where you're unable to open your inventory menu, such as when you're pressing a movement input, getting grappled by an enemy, or going through a door. There are also times where you're unable to equip or unequip a weapon. Most of these times are the same as with the menu, with some exceptions. One important fact many players understand, but may not think too much about, is the fact that you cannot equip a weapon while moving. Most of the time this is not an issue, because to equip a weapon, you have to open the inventory, and to open the inventory, you cannot be pressing any movement inputs. However, when you open the menu whilst hitting a loading zone, it freezes Kevin's posture, which isn't too relevant, but more importantly, it freezes Kevin's velocity. Now, spamming equip doesn't seem to do too much while you're in the loading zone, but if you time it right, you can have Kevin's stance value change from a loading value to the equip value instead of loading the next room, interrupting the transition from one map to another. Although, if you hit a wall and your velocity drops to 0, then the load will still occur. So on several spots, including doors, you have to slightly alter the angle you hit the loading zone at so you can skirt out the side of the loading zone. Myself and Ware from the community have found recently how to do it with doorways in any capacity, so there's still room to experiment. However, after testing, we have found that this glitch has potential to save time on every File 1 scenario. Skipping the forklift key on Outbreak, the fingerprint registration and shutter code on BFP, also allowing us to play as Kevin instead of a Yoko type. Both key cards on the Hive with 2 separate shuffles. And all of the reagents on decisions. Lastly, I'd like to offer some general tips before I end the video. If you're having trouble getting the menu to come up before hitting the loading zone, try delaying the start button press a tad longer after letting go of the movement inputs until you get the timing down. Getting this glitch to work on doors is a lot more tricky, as the inside of doors have what seems to be an unconnected alcove that holds more of the loading zone. But if you angle it just right to the side, you should be able to get out the side. And with all that said, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this discovery.